YouTube, okay, we're really sorry. It was very bright outside, so we couldn't get this outside. It just wouldn't show up on camera. So let's look at it. I shouldn't say, there's nothing wrong with the NXX screen. In person, it's very easy to see, but out in the sun, it's bad. So we're just gonna show you this right now. Okay, so the Pitts S-1S 850 millimeter. Okay, so we have a 4-minute flight timer. You could probably push that out to more like 7 or 8, conservatively on a 2200 4S. 2200 3S is actually more fun. I think the power to weight ratio is very good on a 3S. I don't think you need the 4S. The 4S is just insane amounts of power. Okay, dual rates and expo. We set up some more complicated setup. We went to the inside hole on the rudder. That was our final setup. I don't think you need that either. You could put it to the middle or the outside hole like suggested in the manual, but you're gonna have less rates, or you're gonna have different rates than what we do. So we'll just show you what we did. So for ailerons, 0 is 100 and 0. That's like insane amounts of throw and control. Then we're flying at 25 for expo. And then if you want a more relaxed, like easier to land, high-speed passes, things like that, we did a rate of 75 and then the expo at 35. Okay, now I'm gonna show you the other settings. So elevator, we did exactly the same, 0, 25, then 35, and we dropped this back to 75, okay? Now, where it gets different is on rudder. Same thing for crazy setting is 0 and 100%, then 90 and 45, and then 70 and 50. Now, the reason I point this out to you is because this plane will fly insanely. It will do everything you want. And if you're looking for a 3D performance, you don't need the crazy setting. You can fly in the middle setting and still do 3D. You can still hover, all that stuff. Inside, outside, upside down, flights, everything works. Okay, so now let's talk about flaps. Flaps were different on this plane. Okay, so 0% for position 1, that's normal flying mode, obviously. Then position 1 is -32 with a -12. That means the elevator, when the flaps come down, the elevator goes up because these are flaperons, they're outboard, okay? Then for position 2, the landing flap setting, it's 75 and 25. Now, why do we do 75 instead of 100? Well, if you did 100, then what happens is all 4 of your ailerons are like this, okay? And then to start rolling, it just gets wonky as all get out, and you have this weird adverse yaw that happens. Just trust me, you don't want 100% down on this particular plane. Some planes you can get away with that, not this one. I wouldn't recommend it. In fact, you don't even really need the 75. It'd probably be better at like 25 and 50. But either way, this is the way we flew it. 2200 4S is the first flight you're gonna see. The screen is basically, it's like looking at this. You're not gonna see anything, and I'm really sorry about that, guys. We try to avoid that. The camera crew is one of the best on YouTube, but the thing is, it's so bright out there, she can't see the screen on our phone.
The screen.
So, anyway, sorry for the confusion. We just wanted to put that right at the beginning of the video. So, stay tuned. We're gonna show you the first flight is gonna be our 3rd flight, okay? The 2nd flight is gonna be our 2nd flight, and then the 3rd flight will be our maiden, okay? We do fly on 1300 3S for our 2nd flight, so stay tuned, you may enjoy it. And I think I misspeak and say that I put the rudder in the outside hole. We actually put it on the most inside, which means we got the most deflection. You also see that in the build. So first flight's gonna be before the Unbox build and radio setup. Then we're gonna go to the 1300 3S flight, which is really good for power, really good for weight. But I just feel like the 2200 settles it down a little bit. It's heavier, it's easier to get the CG right. And then the 3rd flight is our true maiden. It's very dark. We have about 5 minutes of light left, and it was kind of insane because it was so windy. So stay tuned. YouTube, it's Brad Bells. We got the 850 millimeter Pitts by E-flite. We did a few things different. We did the rudder in the outside hole. We got lots of throw. Elevator in the middle hole as prescribed by the manual. And we set up flaperons, which is really cool on a plane with 4 ailerons. I've done it before. It usually works pretty good. I do know this. We already tested this, and we will show the video at the end. It was super windy last night, so you'll be able to see that for the true maiden. This thing is insane on 4S 2200. It's got so much power, it'll fly and lift your hand. So pretty awesome. Stick around for the build if you want to see how we did all this stuff. One thing I can say, the thing doesn't need flaperons, but I just like the idea of being able to slow way down, which is really cool. So without further ado, we're gonna set this down and take off. Okay, dual rates and expo. Currently we're flying. There's a 0 setting, 25%, and then we drop the rates down to 75 and expo at 35. That's for ailerons, elevator, and rudder, okay? Same thing, okay? Except I think on the rudder, I did just a hair more. I did 0, 30, and then 40, okay? So the reason I show you that is because I changed that from my initial settings. My elevator correction, I'll just tell it out loud. For flap correction, I did 15% on position 1, the takeoff flaps, compared to -32 for the flapper on, and then -75 and 20 for the landing setting, okay? So takeoff dialed in, throttle holds off, running in the middle expo mode. Here we go. Woo! Oh, sorry guys. This is on 3S 1300. Oh yeah, I love the power ratio so much better. I'm at 50% throttle here and it feels gorgeous. Man, that thing looks good. Does that thing not look beautiful? It's so light on its feet now. Guys, the 2200, you have to have that thing hanging way off the battery tray. Same thing with this 1300, that's 60% throttle. Here's 100% throttle, folks. That is plenty of ups for this plane, I think. My only concern is that we're gonna chew through this pack really quick. We got a 4-minute timer. We have limited telemetry because this is an AR631. We don't have the battery pack voltages. We just have the receiver voltage. Because it's a receiver voltage, you only know what the VEC says. Okay, so here we go. So let's show you the roll rate. It's just insane. Little cornhole action. Let's show you something else that's pretty cool. Okay, so we're in AS3X. We can shut AS3X in this configuration off. Here's safe, okay? We'll get up at a little bit more altitude. All right, just to show you. Okay, so the limited bank angles on safe. There I let go. There I let go. There I let go. But I want to show you something. Because we have 2 ailerons under a normal safe configuration, this plane is so zippy. Look at this. You can roll it upside down and it freaks out safe. So I just want you to be aware, if you intend to use safe on this, do not do the flapperons. Okay, out of safe. Now we're into AS3X only. Oh, that thing looks so gorgeous. I love the scale performance on 3S. It's actually better. I felt like there was too much power on 4S. I know that sounds ridiculous. Please forgive me. Man, somebody's burning. It smells glorious.
I know, now it smells.
Okay, so let's show you the slowdown performance. Here it's takeoff flaps. Okay, a little bit too much down elevator correction on takeoff. We're probably like, I would say 5% too much. And then landing flaps. Again, a little bit too much. Let's land and see if we can correct that out of the flaps altogether. I'm just gonna show you something, guys. This thing doesn't need flaps, but I love having the ability to slow it down nicely like that. These Pitts planes, when they're well behaved, they are something glorious to behold, okay? I'm gonna roll into the grass. Thank you for flipping over. Okay, throttle holds on. Okay, I'm gonna go back into this. I'm gonna change 15 down to 10, and I'm gonna change 20. Actually, let's go 15 and let's go 12. Okay, so we'll pause and get set. While we're on the ground, look where I have that battery, okay? It's sticking out the end of the tray, okay? I wanted to show you that because I wanted to make sure that my battery didn't fall out, okay, on that flip over. Okay, so we have our correction, hopefully a little bit better. Man, that thing looks every bit as sweet as the 1.4 meter from FMS. Okay, our 4-minute timer is just relaxing. Woo! She's a little bit crazy. Okay, I feel like the down correction is yeah, it's a little bit too much. Okay, I'm out of the flaps. Okay, full landing flaps, way too much. Okay, so we are going to take the correction out. Looking where the manned aircraft is. Can you see where it is? It's
way to the south.
Okay, good. Very good. Thank you. Hey, just so you guys know, this thing gets a little squirrely on the ground, but we have a bit of a crosswind here too. So it's hard to tell because the windsock isn't picking it up. We have crosswind coming from right this direction right here. So it's like as I come along, it's getting pushed off. Last night we had wind down the runway. We didn't have any problems with that. Okay, I'm gonna just shut this correction. I'm gonna actually go to like nothing and nothing. And let's just see how bad it is. I'm mostly working through the correction because that's part of the setup. So this may end up being the second video. We'll see. I'm gonna take off that way this time.
Do you check battery or we're good?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
It didn't have a rough landing.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna, the wind is at her back again, so I'm gonna turn around. Watch the ground handling on this thing. It's so awesome right now. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Take off flaps. That's takeoff flaps. There's no flaps. I almost think we need to go to 3 seconds. Okay, here's, see down, whoa, it goes down a lot. That's so weird. Okay, so we need, did you see what happened?
Mm-hmm.
It goes down. I have no correction right now, so check this out. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Oh my goodness, okay, that's kind of crazy. So we need to, uh-oh. All right, I'm gonna land in the grass. We got a FedEx delivery coming. You never know what this could be, except we do. We should land on top of the FedEx truck. Let's see if it'll let us.
Trying to keep him out of picture.
Okay, here we go. Grasshoppers are no problem with this plane. And by the way, that grass is tall.
It is.
Okay, so normally we don't pause, but we have to pause for the FedEx guy. So we're gonna do that. Okay, so while FedEx is delivering our many, many packages, we are gonna test this battery. Just so you know, I was talking about this a little bit, and I have changed this to a -8 and a -12.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so watch what happens. Take off flaps. The correction is opposite typical. This happens on some planes with flaperons on an outboard wing. This happens to be one of them. I don't exactly know. I haven't connected the dots on exactly why that happens. I know some of you guys, my understanding is on biplanes especially, you do tend to have that a little bit, okay? Depends on the plane. Let's go ahead and take this battery out. We elapsed our time before FedEx showed up. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and keep filming. This battery, I feel like this is a really good match for this plane. You could actually do the bigger pack and it'd be no problem, but look at this. Yeah. So yeah, so we're right about where we need to be, about 33%. That makes me feel safe. We'll go ahead and throw this on the S2200, let this thing charge. Okay, so we'll plug that sucker in, let it get going, and then we'll plug in a fresh one just so you guys can see how this works with the XBC 100 battery checker. Very nice. 4.19 volts per cell. I'm gonna show you where I put it. The CG on this thing is a little bit weird because you wouldn't think you'd have to have this battery back as far as it is. And you might notice this is the Gen 1. We just don't happen to have Gen 2 1300s yet. We will eventually, but right at the moment, we don't. So our FedEx guy must have seen the airplanes flying, so he was nice and he waited for us to land, sort of. And this thing does great in the grass. It's so weird because you wouldn't think a small plane like this would do great in the grass. Okay, so sliding this thing in. It's a little bit harder than the P-51, but every biplane I've ever had, probably one of the worst parts of flying is putting the battery in. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So let's plug this sucker in. Let it go through the dance. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we are going to take these leads. You have to be aware that you're right up on top of your servo connections. So what I've been doing is I've been sticking the plugs down into that hole. It works super nice to kind of control those leads, and then you don't end up with a problem on your battery leads getting into your elevator and your rudder, okay? So now the other thing I wanna do is we put, okay, so -4 or -8 and -12. I wanna go back to this servo setup, excuse me. I wanna go back to dual rates and expo. Rudder. I'm gonna change this to like 40. I'm gonna change this to like 50, which is about as much as you can get away with. And we'll just, we still have our crazy settings, so if we wanna do cornholes, we can, okay? So we're ready to take off. I'm gonna clear my timer. 4 minutes is probably a little bit premature, even with a 2200, unless you're just on it. And I mean like on it hard. I think last night we were on it pretty hard. So by the way, Ramy RC, good channel. I like Ramy's stuff. That's good. All right, so without further ado, we're gonna pause and wait another 3 or 4 hours for the FedEx guy to unload our packages. This poor guy. He gets so many packages out here. So many random huge boxes.
This is a new guy.
Oh, it's a new guy. Oh no, we better go check him.
Bad introduction.
All right guys, so take off flaps. We got a little bit extra rudder expo. Here goes nothing. Oh yeah, way better now. Okay, out of the flaps. Oh yeah, take off flaps, landing flaps. Ooh yeah. Okay, so we need a little bit more just to show you what it can do. This plane is just phenomenal. I feel bad, we're not really showing how the plane works, we're more showing how to set up the plane right now, but I guess that's why you guys watch our channel, so. If there were a plane that you could get away without flaps, it's this. And yet we're gonna spend all this time showing how to set it up just because I think it's cool. Sorry, Horizon. Just rolls so crazy. Okay, so you good where you are? I'm gonna go take off flaps. Hey, you good? Our cats are being annoying. We have 2 that are in heat right now. Okay, so in the grass to stop it. Okay, block the sun there, camera crew. Flap correction. We needed more, right? So it's negative, so 15 and 8. Let's go 10 and 15. Okay, so that's probably about right. You wanna show them what's going on over there?
Oh, there's a little kitty out. And a whole porch full of stuff.
A porch full and inside.
and
then look at the end of the runway. There's another hunter.
Oh, I was gonna say.
All right, camera crew, you ready?
Yep.
Take off flaps. Here we go. That's about 50% throttle, folks. Nice level flight. I can tell you that rudder, the tail dragger, that's the culprit. I think we have a little bit of a differentiation between the direction it's pointed and the direction the rudder's pointed. That happens. Sometimes you can bend them out straight. Okay, here's the full landing flaps. And we're still going downhill. We need a little bit more. Goodness gracious. Takeoff flaps are still deployed. Now we're out of the flaps altogether. Okay, takeoff flaps. Okay, here we go. We're gonna land this thing. Let's just do grass. It seems to work so much better.
It's really good.
Except then I flip it. But no, it's been good.
Yeah. That is not like nice grass over there.
Hey, look at this. Let's just show the people what I was talking about. You see how that rudder is lined up? Imagine this plane of the rudder. It's good, but then this is not quite perfect. I want to fix that right now too. So I'm going to go a little bit more down elevator or up elevator correction. So I'm going to go to 20 actually. And then I'm going to see if I can just take this and just support this with my fingers and just bend it a little teeny bit. It doesn't take much. Okay? I want to see if that's enough. Because once you get this thing greasing in, it's going to be like your favorite plane. You know what's funny too? I'm just remembering the 1.4 meter does the exact same thing. It wants to hop, skip, and jump along the runway. But if you put it down in the grass, it's beautiful. All right, here goes nothing. Walking out of the menu, throttle holds off, takeoff flaps deployed. A little bit better. Out of the flaps altogether, level flight, takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Yeah, buddy.
That's good.
out of the flaps altogether. So guys, there's so many of you have asked me in the past about setting up flaperons. You want to know why I oftentimes don't do it? Because of this scenario. You've got a beautiful plane, doesn't really need flaps. I just can't bring myself to not do flaps, guys. I mean, it does everything. Look at this, folks. Look at this. I'm not a 3D pilot. I don't fly upside down like ever for fun. See this? I got about 10% up elevator. Look at that thing. We're gonna go inside loop and then down. Look how gorgeously that flies. Man. Behind us. Okay. I'm gonna take about 10 steps toward the bowl. Okay, we're gonna try a landing this way. Take off flaps, landing flaps. Let's see how it looks. About 15% throttle. Okay, so a couple things to think about. I want even more down or up elevator correction. I'm gonna show you when we're all done what our settings are, guys. Don't worry. Just a little bit more here. We'll do 12, and then we're gonna do 22. Okay, I'm gonna change the speed to 3 seconds, which is not customary. So you see where that is? Okay, and then I'm gonna go to dual rates and expo. I'm gonna go over to elevator rudder, and I'm gonna go even more, 45. I'm gonna actually drop the rates down to like 90. Then I'm gonna go to my top setting, and I'm gonna drop it down to 70. Okay, so that way I've got a little bit more. Whatever I do, I got a little bit more.
Hey, do you want a new battery?
No, we're good. Take off flaps. Here we go. Oh, gorgeous. Landing flaps. Yes. Can't even tell. All it does is slow down. That is so cool. Full landing flaps. I can keep flying. This is 60% throttle here. Take off flaps. Out. 50% throttle here. I'm way out there because I think I want to try to hit a landing here. Okay. Okay, full landing flaps. Out of the throttle altogether. Okay, Megan.
Yeah.
Full speed pass. Into the bowl and around. Take off flaps. Landing flaps. Woo! It does good with the tall grass, guys. I just can't believe how well behaved this plane is, really. Let's just pause for a second, pump the brakes. We've got 2 flights now. The windy flight, it was quite windy. Then we've got this flight where we're kind of fiddling with the flaps and everything. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump into a bigger pack. We're gonna go full 2200 4S and just show you how insane it is. Stay tuned. Up next. YouTube 850 millimeter pits, finally. So excited to bring this to you. We added some extra features. Flaperons, totally unnecessary. You'll notice the correction on the elevator goes up. We're gonna show you our settings real quick. We have quite a bit of expo set up because we also set up a little extra throw on the rudder, and we're gonna show you that right now. We're gonna set this down and pause and come right back. All right, so here we go. Dual rates and expo. These are not the same for aileron, elevator, and rudder. See how it's 90 and 45? The high is 70 and 50 for rudder and 100 and 0 for rudder. Okay, we have the crazy setting for ailerons, and then we have the more relaxed 75 and 35. Okay, and then for elevator we have the same. Okay, so there's your settings for dual rates and expo, and then we have the flap system. A little bit more complicated than usual because we have flaperons. Speed is 3. See that? Speed is 3. Speed is 3. All right? I forgot to set the middle one. Okay, walking out, throttle holds on, 4-minute flight time. 4S, 2200, way off the tray, basically hanging off by the back strap as far back as it can go, just to get the CG right. You better watch your CG on this plane. Okay, throttle holds off. This thing flies great. You don't need flaps, but I want flaps. There's takeoff flaps. Look how beautiful that is, guys. 50% throttle, watch out of the flaps, almost no change in state. Full landing flaps, almost no change in state, except it slows way down, which is super cool. Oh, I love it. Okay, full throttle. Look at that insane amount of ups. This plane is so fast. Look at the loop, it's just gigantic. Okay, now let's relax it down a little bit. It's so cool. No 3D pilot here, folks. Not even pretending to be one on TV. Okay, into the bowl. Nice relaxed flight. Real easy flight characteristics. And it's not dead calm. Full throttle pass. I feel like going inside loop all the way up, all the way down, and flip out of it. Camera crew, best on YouTube. Making these high-speed passes seem easy, and it's not. Out of the throttle, just a dead stick pass. Looks so gorgeous. Let's go up here and do a stall turn if we can get it to stall for us. There we go. This plane actually behaves really nice with a 1300 3S. We'll show you another flight. I actually don't really mind it on 3S. I feel like it's a more appropriate power level, but I know you guys are gonna wanna see it on 4S. There you go, full aileron input. Man, that looks so good. Sorry, camera crew, I was mean. I had to keep from hitting the ground and stuff. Takeoff flaps here, landing flaps. Let's slow it down for the folks at home. The folks that want to see it actually, instead of just see a big blur. Beautiful, folks. Look at that thing slow down. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, you do not need flaps, but I'm telling you right now, you wouldn't be flying quite so slow unless you were in a high alpha configuration, and then you could. Look at that. Look at that, folks. That's why I love this plane, because you can get out of hot water like that. I do feel like maybe product development was onto something with the hole they suggested for the rudder, because I feel like I'm taking so much of it out with Expo. But I have it when I need it, guys. I want to be able to do my cornholes. Let's go do some right now. You guys ready? Here we go. Whoa! Whoa! Did it happen? Did it happen? I can't remember. Okay, and I want to show you one thing too. We did set up safe on this, okay, which is kind of goofy because I can overwhelm safe, just to let you know. Okay, so AS3X is off. Now safe is on. Okay. Limited bank angles don't work because it will just keep going, okay? But just you can see it auto levels, okay? Auto levels. But I want to show you something. I'm going to get a couple mistakes high. Just trust me, I'm in safe. I'll let you know when I come out. Watch what happens in safe. They suggest a 4-minute flight time. This G2 4S 2200 will go much longer, but that's okay. Watch this. Roll. Oh my goodness. Safe is like freaking out. If you flip a plane over successfully in safe, it doesn't know what to do. It tries to correct as though it's stalling. Watch this. I just did a barrel roll with safe on. That's not the way it's supposed to work, folks. Okay, out of AS3X and safe. Just so you can see how it behaves. That is why you buy a Horizon plane, guys. Okay, now AS3X is on. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. What a beautiful, beautiful little creation, guys. This thing is just a glorious, glorious little plane. Here we go. 850 millimeter size class, and it flies just as good, if not better, than the 1400 millimeter Big Brother. But I'm gonna tell you this thing is very Johnny on the spot. Very Johnny on the spot. And yes, there is one more elevator hole you could stick it in. What? Yep, that's right. Oh, we elapsed our 4-minute time, just so you guys know. I don't want to push the issue too much. I think we got like about double our flight time last night. No? Camera crew is shaking her head no. But it was also insanely windy and I was like pushing it the whole time. Guys, I'm gonna show you one more set of maneuvers here. 30% throttle, 40%, 50% throttle here. 60, 70% throttle. Upside down, barely any elevator pressure, and she does just fine. This thing flies super symmetrical, doesn't matter what direction you're pointed. Okay, full landing flaps coming in. About 15% throttle. Look at this beautiful drawn out landing we're gonna do for you. Grass landings are not a problem for this plane. In fact, she likes grass. Now let's do a grass takeoff. Take off flaps, pull up elevator until you get moving. And there you go, let off the elevator and then roll it out, baby. I want to show you that because it does actually land a little bit better. Now let's show you a no flap landing. This is by far one of the more refined and easy to fly and easy to land planes that is in a biplane configuration. Look at that, guys. No flaps. All you got to do is just bring it in, use the wing to slow you down. Okay, take off flaps there. You see that pull up elevator? As soon as you get rolling, let off the elevator and then roll it, baby. I'm going to be cutting that grass soon. Thank you. Thank you, Pitts. Beautiful, no throttle pass. Going under the power lines, we'll double back and get a landing. You good, camera crew? Mm-hmm. Full throttle. Take off flaps. Landing flaps, 15% throttle. I personally love the challenge of flaps, but I just want to show you that it's not needed on this plane. Throttle holds on. Let's go ahead and pick it up and we'll talk some more. So guys, in closing, we're going to throw a couple of flights at the end where we're trying to figure out the flap mix on 1300 3S, just to give you an idea of the power level. I think this thing flies on 2200 3S all day long. I would not even go for 1300. It's just a little bit too small. It's hard to get the battery off the tray enough to get the CG to work. It's already light enough on its feet. This thing could probably handle a bigger battery, to be honest. I think the weight kind of serves it well. Plus, if you set up flaps, which to be honest with you, as much as I love the concept of flaps, and it just looks so dang cool, okay? This plane doesn't need flaps. Product development at Horizon does a really nice job of deciding where we need flaps and where we don't need flaps. And I just like to buck the system, basically. So if I get a UMX, I want flaps. Why? Because it's fun. It gives you something to do. I love flaps. I'm going to generally put flaps on a plane where it's going to help the performance, but I'm also going to put flaps on a plane where I want to be able to do that just for coolness. This is strictly for coolness. It doesn't really work very good on this plane. I would say that you'd almost be better off without the flaps. That being said, it's a lot easier to set up. You just plug in the ailerons. It's a lot less setup. But if you want to copy what we did, we show the entire thing. So definitely good plane, great plane. It's going to be a lot easier to set up, to be honest, if you don't do the flaperons. But I can tell you this. I love the way it goes together. They do come with these, what do they call those things? Wing wires. Yeah. But you have to glue them in. So once you glue them in, they're in there. There's no going back once you do it. Then you can't take the top wing off. This thing comes off. This thing comes off. You pull this off, and it's basically about as easy as it gets. You got to undo this. You got to undo this. It's an easy setup. This plane went together super, super nice. E-flite always does a great job. Now, that being said, the FMS is double the size almost, okay? 1400 millimeters is a lot bigger plane. I mean, literally the fuselage is probably double as long as this, and it's equally as girthy. That thing is big. It looks like the Carbon Z Cub hanging on the ceiling. And the Carbon Z Cub, I love it, but I'm gonna tell you one thing that you're gonna run into when you get big planes. Big planes will take up a room in your house quicker than you can say, E-flite is awesome. So that's all I got to say. Get ready to share your guest room with your airplanes. That's all I got to say. Also, if you get a Carbon Z Cub, awesome plane. It does come apart, but it takes forever. If you need a big plane and you can't live without a big plane, and your budget is maybe not super tight, just get the Draco. It's so much easier to store, and it's so much easier to get together when you're ready to fly. And by the way, when you pull that wing off and you see that beautiful carbon fiber spar, you're gonna be like, wow, that is so cool. And you will, trust me, I do every time. So that being said, this plane is awesome. I love it, and I have a lot of cool planes, guys. Very fun, very good. It makes me want to get a clipped wing Cub. I'm just saying, I want to get a clipped wings Cub because of this plane. Because it has that starburst, and every time I see that, it makes me think of the clipped wing Cub. And yes, that plane also doesn't have flats. It has ailerons only. So who knows? Maybe we'll set up flaperons on that when we get it. And yes, I want to show you where I put the battery, just so you know. See how far back it is? I stuck my leads down into this hole here, and they've popped up and out since then. Okay. Canopy goes on and off, super easy, nice detailing. This is a great plane, guys. It's everything you want out of a UMX, except it's not quite as small as a UMX, and it's everything you want in a 1.2 meter, but it's not quite a 1.2 meter. That being said, this is in the size class of, I would argue, the 1.1 to 1.3 meter size class, even though it's an 850 millimeter. That's because it's a biplane. You got to keep in mind, it is a biplane, so you have twice the wing surface as you would on an 850 millimeter. So it's just about 25% larger than a UMX, but it flies like a 1.2 or 1.3. And yes, you can dial in that expo. You can get this thing to fly gorgeously. On a crispy, calm day, this thing will do just about anything you want it to do. On a windy day, it will do it, but it's a lot harder. So just keep that in mind. The wind is good, but the wind makes this thing lift pretty much at idle, sitting on the driveway. So, any other thoughts? Assembly was easy, right?
Yeah, assembly was good. It's a great size. I feel like that's a good size class for so many people.
It really is.
For a lot of reasons.
For us, it would be great if all planes were this size, you know, just because the length of our runway. But that being said, this thing does great in grass. Yeah. I mean, you see that grass. Let's just show the grass next to my foot before we go off camera. I cut this grass at the beginning of the week. I've been on vacation this week, so it's been awesome. Let's just, you know, this is kind of plotchy. But look at this, next to my foot. That is not short grass, guys.
No, that's not.
It's twice as tall as my foot. The more refined grass you see, like in the sod over there next to that hunting killing machine over there, that basically is regular sod. This is going to be like Kentucky Blue, Fiskew mix, and so it's splotchy. Okay, this is really not good right here. Okay, it needs to fill in and get more to like that before you're going to have good luck with most wheels. These things did good. Pants didn't give us any problems at all. That's one of the things that usually happens when we have wheel pants. The first thing that comes off is the pants. So.
Oh, good. And keep your pants on.
Exactly. Keep your pants on. So that being said, Pitts by E-flite 850 millimeters. You guys may notice in a couple of the flights coming up that we had FedEx show up halfway through. That's happened twice now. FedEx always shows up while we're flying. So they delivered what, like 8 boxes?
Well, 7.
I think we have that coming next week too. It's going to be busy. The camera crew is super excited. All right, guys, stay tuned for the unbox build radio setup. Keep in mind, we went through the latest and greatest radio setup at the beginning of the flight. That's why we did that. We don't mean to bore you, but we just don't want you guys asking us a million questions because we won't remember. We're going to be moving on to the next thing, and this thing flies great. And if you like the Pitts even remotely, you'll love this thing. That being said, don't forget, the battery don't go on the tray. The battery goes way back. Come back for more, guys. Stay tuned. YouTube's Brad Mills. We got a backed open here.
Silly.
We're just getting right to it. We're gonna make a short video today. Oh, what do we have here? It looks like an 850 millimeter Pitts. Awesome. This one is a skill level 2, which means more than 1 and less than 3.
Good math.
So guys, we're just gonna let you know this right now. We have a lot of stuff coming on the channel. We have so much coming that we may need some more rooms in our house. Look at that fancy dance. I am super excited to see this thing together. We already did the 1.4 meter Pitts from FMS not too long ago, and that plane is awesome. So if you haven't seen it below, we'll probably link to that one since it's the same exact plane except bigger. It's about double the size. So this is gonna be kind of exciting. I don't know even what this thing flies on, but I'm assuming it flies on 3 and 4S compatible. That's pretty sweet. I'm assuming it flies on like 2200, but we'll find out. Oh yeah, buddy. That looks exactly like the bigger one, except small. That's,
I like the size though.
I know, 850 millimeter. I mean, that 1400 millimeter is big.
It is.
It's a big plane.
In a
Biplanes are big. Okay, so this is 31 inches long, which is 787 millimeters, and it's 33.5, 850 wide. Okay, so I was not into this plane until I got the bigger one, and I realized how awesome it is. Because that was one of those I did reluctantly. And I don't know why I was reluctant to do it, because it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. We're gonna start the unboxing process. It's gonna be the most exciting part of the video. Oh, an 11x7 prop. Looks nice. Nothing fancy there. Okay. Oh, good lordy, lord. What is this, a dynam? Look at this. 4 carbon fiber. It's probably for the, between the upper and lower wings. Oops. Drop a piece in. Got the spinner here, looks pretty straightforward.
I like red planes.
I like yellow planes.
Yeah, I like yellow too. That's fine.
I would love to see this in a yellow. Ah. Get off of me, foam. Look at this. This foam is very persistent. The manual is folded.
I'm sorry. Somebody's gonna read it to you.
Somebody is gonna read it. So if it's folded like this, then I have to unfold it. One of the reasons we like Horizon is that they have good manuals. They're in English and other languages. Some of which, some of the manuals that you get from these plane companies are terrible. Mm-hmm. And some are okay. You know, some are just comically bad. And then others are like, seriously?
Mostly comically bad.
These are the quick release pins between the top and bottom wings. And it looks like we have 1, 2, 3 screws. Probably 2 millimeters, can't tell for sure. And then a spinner adapter. It's gonna be for this here, obviously. Let's go ahead and separate this. Get in here, we've got, that is the horizontal stabilizer. Oh, maybe they go in there. Look.
Oh.
There's like little dinky holes in there. Pinch hinge. Looks plenty strong. Carbon fiber. That's good. Obviously they're going to join together with this hinge adapter thing. Okay, so that's always nice to see. I don't know if those are going to be used in there or not, so I'm kind of reluctant to slide them together right now. Okay, then we have the top and bottom spacer pieces. These have carbon fiber between them. Yeah, there's carbon fiber in there. They feel nice and light, but you can definitely tell they're sturdy. So that's good.
Yeah.
A lot of other manufacturers would just basically put a piece of foam and then hope it stays in place. But not E-flite, they won't let you off the hook that easy. They're gonna make you do it right. Okay. Oh, we've got some rods here. I don't wanna miss those.
Ooh.
Jeez. Got a little bend in that one. That's disappointing. Wonder why that's bent. I don't think it's supposed to be. We'll find out. Can't tell if that's the top or the bottom wing. Looks like that's the bottom because of where the, yeah, that's where one of those carbon fibers go. It's got a little dihedral in it, which is true to form. Beautiful wing. Love the simulated fabric wrapping. Not too many of these little mold release things. Carbon fiber, no, that's just where the wire goes. Can't see the carbon fiber with the opaque paint. I'm sure there's something in there because it doesn't have enough flex to be without. And then this is where the top and the bottom wings are going to join together. So there'll be ailerons on the top and ailerons on the bottom. This is the top wing. nice and straight, which is cool. Of course, pinch hinge on those ailerons. Looks like these are going to be attached together with this. I don't know which way that's going to go, but that's the way those are going to attach together, so that's pretty cool. And the fuse. Oh yeah, pilot looks good. Good instrument cluster, simple, but to the point. The pilot looks good. The support saddle for the top wing looks nice. We've got an EFL 8463 brushless outrunner. It's 880 kV. Looks good. Looks nice and sturdy. I don't know if the nose comes off. It doesn't feel like it's okay. It does. Magnets. So you got good serviceability there. That's nice. This unscrews. I don't know what that's for. I'm still not 100% sure how that goes. Landing gear mounts, same detail. Exhaust tubes, I believe, is where that would actually be on a real one. Oh, and then the canopy, of course. Got the rudder, looks nice. Nice hinge. Wheel looks nice. Everything seems nice and solid. Not overbuilt, not underbuilt. So it's a sub-micro analog servo, both of them. Those look like the A330s. So those are 9-gram servos, I believe. And this has an AR631 receiver. And then a 40 amp BEC programmable brushless. So it's got a 40 amp non-smart. It's not an avian receiver. And then the battery tray that you'll see on some of these e-flite planes makes it really easy to get the battery in, and then up to the nose. So it looks like it'll receive a very large battery. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we'll just leave that there for now. Okay, so AR631. That means that we're not going to have voltage telemetry, which is a bit of a bummer. But that's okay, no big deal. We're going to run off of a timer on a plane like this anyway, because the timer is going to tell you, once you fly it once, you're going to pretty much tend to fly it about the same way. It's not like a glider.
The red match is pretty good on the spinner.
Yeah, that's a really close match. Only difference is flat versus shiny. Not uncommon there. We see that a lot. I was just going to say, it looks kind of a little bit translucent, but you know, you're going to have that with plastic. It's better to have a non-painted spinner, in my opinion. If you have a painted spinner, the first time you scuff it up, it just looks like crap.
Yep.
So that looks like everything on this side, but it feels like there's some weight on the back side.
Oh yeah, landing gears on the bottom.
Okay, yep. So let's get this untaped. All right, so the landing gear on this plane, the wheel pants look really nice. Same plastic that the spinner is made out of. So you have a pretty close match there. Looks like the wheels are going to work out good. Nice sturdy aluminum strut. And then the wheel fairings look nice. Screwed on. Plastic cover over foam. Backfilled. So it matches nicely. I'm surprised they did that added detail of having this covered in that red. That's really cool. It's going to be a nice, good fit too.
Yeah,
looks like.
nice.
Oh yeah, that looks sweet.
Cool.
Love the way that looks. This is a really good size too for a small plane like this. Even though this plane is 850 millimeters, it's gonna fly like a 1.2 meter because it's got 2 wings on it, obviously. So the wing loading is gonna be really low. So without further ado, we're gonna clean up and come right back with the build. All right guys, so we're gonna put this pits together. Inside of this bag with all these clips, there's several screws. There's 3 screws to be specific. These clips are gonna disappear on our countertop, so I'm gonna hold them in my hand. By the way, those are used to simulate the wing, the wing wires, and they are designed for static display. If you put them on, you won't be able to take them off. So you won't be able to take the wings off because you have to glue them in. So just keep that in mind. Be thinking about that as you work through the installation of all this stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm trying to decide. Camera crew, can you send me that? Thanks, Tom, for getting us a plane stand. We appreciate that. That was really nice of you. Years ago, whenever that was. Feels like years ago.
It's been since we moved here, I think.
Oh yeah.
So it can't have been too many years.
This plane is so small, like it barely fits on a plane stand as configured. That's pretty cool though. Actually, we were just talking off camera about how much we like the size of this plane. Mm-hmm. You have to remember when you get a lot of planes take up room. Planes are big, even when they're built. If you're fortunate enough to be into helicopters, helicopters are pretty small. They don't take up much room, but they still take up a lot of room.
Well, and even if you don't have a lot of planes, we're fortunate to live somewhere where like,
we have
a
room.
Basement and stuff.
Yeah, right.
If you don't have a basement, where do you put all your stuff?
In the attic.
That your husband doesn't throw away.
That's right. I keep everything. You never know when you're going to need 4 of the same type of plane.
Never.
Okay, so this is incidentally a 2mm hex drive. Mm-hmm. Also, thanks, Tom.
Yes.
See? Dividends. So we're tightening this down. Super easy. Next thing we have to do, I did figure out what that was. That was part of the wing assembly. You tighten that in, and then you put the bottom wing on it. It's all designed to be able to come apart, which is funny because this isn't really that big of a plane, so I'm not sure really that you would need to take it apart, but if you need to take it apart, see the plane is so small, like I don't even know, the plane stand doesn't even really work on this plane. So it's kind of weird like that. I think I'm just gonna set it down like this. And then if we need it, we need it. Okay, so this is obviously the starburst pattern is gonna be on the top. Okay, so when you do this, you're supposed to CA this together. So I will be the guinea pig and I will use my non-foam safe CA here and we'll see if we cause any problems with it. I'm gonna start with this wing just for the simple fact that this one's gonna slide over the top of it. So I feel like maybe we'll have a little bit better luck there. Who knows? I don't think it's really that critical. Yep, still smells. So we'll just go real light on the CA. And that's so we don't have a huge mess when we put this together. It's just strange, those holes on the end, they sure seem like there should be a wing joiner in there. But it doesn't. It most definitely does not say to put a wing joiner in. Okay, so I'm just sliding that in. That just seems like there should be a wing joiner there. It's just weird.
Because that's all. But there was carbon fiber in it, right?
Well, I'm not saying that the wing isn't strong or that it needs more than what's included, but it just seems strange to me that there isn't something that goes between that holds them. I mean, it was really common just a few short years ago for us to have nothing like this and just have glue. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a very small wing too, so yeah. I kind of like the idea of putting the glue in here first. And that way you don't have to worry about it running on the finish of the plane. Just squeezing it as I go. Okay. I'll put that down on the bag. See, now I don't have to worry about when I slide this in if it's gonna seep CA out. Woo, you gotta get that in there fairly quick. That almost stuck before I got it in there. Now, if you have a little bit that seeps out, I want it to run back. Do you see what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Right at the tip. Can you show them what I'm talking about?
This red is always hard to focus. Yeah, you can see it shiny right there on the...
Yeah, on the very edge.
Yep.
That'll activate it. And then I'm going to take a clean, dry Q-tip and just run it along the edge. Make sure if there is any residual. I just want to get it spread out so it dries quick. Now we're going to let that have a quick second to set up. And I'm just going to clean my dirty tip.
Very responsible of you.
I know. You're welcome. So, the next step will be to put the bottom wing on, right?
I think so.
No, it's actually to set up the elevator, to snap the elevator together. So I guess we can do that now. I was really debating too about whether or not I wanted to try to set up flap rounds on this thing. Seems like we've been doing flap rounds a lot lately. Mm-hmm. See, I always, you know what, we're gonna wait on this because then that servo is gonna center. That's for the elevator there. I assume it's probably gonna go to about there, but I don't know the exact position.
Oh, okay.
And so then it's just easier to just kind of put things together. It's suggesting to go into the middle hole. So I think for now, we're just gonna leave that off and hopefully we don't forget.
Okay.
Because that would be pretty devastating to the plane. Okay, so we have this like warning logo here that warns you not to cut your, oh, dang it, it ripped off again. That's so weird. It's gonna go in the garbage can, I guess. There is a Y cable here. And if you were gonna set this plane up for flap-ons, I'm not sure how that's gonna work with this AR631. I know for a fact if you were installing it in a plug and fly, it'd be no problem at all. But also this is an EC3 connector, which will work fine with an IC3 connector. Okay, so you'll notice the smart connector is not installed because that's not a smart ESC. I don't know if this is supposed to happen now. No, they're talking about the wing next, but they never really talk about the prop, so I'm just gonna install this now. So we'll spin it around so you can see. This side goes back, I assume. Yeah, that's definitely the way it goes. There's a very tight gap. Then the prop. Just like that. Then we have a prop adapter and washer here, it looks like. All in one nice bag.
And that should be the same size. 2mm.
I don't really know what that's supposed to do though. Because that's like really, really, really small. I don't even know what that is. Is that like a, supposed to go between this? It's supposed to go on the tip maybe? Maybe that's supposed to go there. Do they show it? That's very strange. It does not show it. It is not included anywhere I can see. Sometimes if you go all the way to the end of the manual, if you go all the way to the end, 86 plus or minus 3 from the top wing. Yeah, see what, look here. That's weird. That doesn't look like what we put on there. See that? That looks different. They must have changed the design. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to go ahead and just assume this is the next step because it's the only thing that'll fit. Then I'm assuming this will probably need to go on there too at some point. I'm just going to very carefully put that down. I'll use the 2mm. Actually, I'm going to grab the bigger one. We'll grab a Phillips here, so it's a little bit more appropriately sized. I was just double checking my positioning because the prop, oh, that's sharp. Okay. All right, so that's nice and tight. Then this is where the moment of truth is. I want to see if this seats up there. Oh, you got to line that up, don't you? See this? There's a recess that receives that. So that's got to be lined up. Currently it's not. So I'm not sure exactly the best way to do this, but I'm going to try it this way. Ooh, that's like going to be hard. Why are you on that side? Why don't you come over here? And they can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to turn that like that. And then this goes something like that. There it is. So that's where that needs to be. But then I have to somehow tighten this first. Man, that's like really awkward actually. Don't want to get cut. But I really would like to torque that down even more. See how it's wanting to spin? It's spinning the underside. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Let's take this apart and double check. I want to just look at, just stay where you are, you're fine. I want to take this apart and then just study this. There's no texture pattern on there. That's definitely the correct direction. Usually you can read the size print on the face of the plane, like, you know, looking down at the length of it like this. I'm pretty sure this doesn't go that way, because otherwise this wouldn't line up like that, okay? So if we put it on backward, yeah, there's no way. That's definitely the correct direction. And then that weird washer, what the heck is that washer for? That doesn't make sense. Maybe it's an accident. So that definitely bites. See, there's a nut position here. See that? Normally that has a texture on it to get everything lined up. I mean, it's not like the end of the world. It's just a little bit challenging to get that to line up at the right time. Because if that's where that's supposed to go, that's where that has to go.
Right. So then you have to torque it down and like
not move it. I don't know if the people can see that at home. That's pretty uncommon for us to have to hold that in such a way. It makes me nervous, like it's for sure gonna slip. See, I'm not quite where it needs to be now. I wonder if I can just try to torque it a little bit more now. See, now it spins all the way around like that. I don't know how I'm gonna do any better than that though. Okay, so it's where it needs to be, so I guess I'm just gonna have to take it. So now, the question becomes, well, let's see if this is a 2mm first of all. Where did the 2mm driver go? Oh, here it is. So the 2mm drive, I think that that's a spacer. Show the people from right over my right shoulder there. It's tight. I mean, it's totally tight. I don't understand what that piece is. Does it go underneath the wing maybe?
I don't know, maybe it's...
Maybe it goes on the wing.
It's just weird.
And then look at this. This is what's so strange too. Oh, did I miss my slot on that? See that? See what I'm having trouble with now? That's gonna bind. That's not good. Oh, you know what? Let's try putting that on now. I wonder if that'll hold it out a little further so that it doesn't touch like that. You think?
Maybe, but is it even gonna go over the...
Yeah, it will.
Screw?
On this, it will. This is weird that it's not in the instruction manual like this. Drop that over the top of the screw if you can.
Yeah, it does.
So now, see that snapped?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're torquing it down. Oh, guys, look at that. Look at that. It stopped the gap issue. See, before, without that piece, this would bite right here and all the way around. Now it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, devil's in the details, right? That would have been kind of a nice one to have an instruction manual with.
Yeah.
And I'm torqued down as tight as I can go now.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's not to say that this prop isn't going to loosen.
Right.
So that's maybe not so good. Again, not the end of the world. Not really like a huge issue. All right, so now I have to figure out the best way to secure the bottom of the wing on, or the bottom wing on. I have to pass these two ailerons through. Camera crew, you know what I think I should do? I should be a smart person and I should label these left and right. You know why?
Why?
Because then if I do flap-ons, it'll be easy.
Oh.
So we'll pause and grab a marker. Okay, so this one's gonna be the right one. So I'm just gonna write R on both sides. So right aileron. And that's actually gonna be the top and bottom aileron. And then this one is going to be left aileron. Now the funny thing is, I'm not a big fan of flap-ons, but I think we've done flap-ons on like the last 3 planes.
We have.
Which is strange. Now, if it's an inboard flap, I always feel like it's better. But if it's a full length or most of the length, it's usually pretty good too. But if it's an outboard flapper-on, it doesn't usually work very good. In my experience, it's just the way it is. Those look plenty long to reach to the receiver. I just don't know how they configured the receiver, so we may not have any access to it. Okay, so we're gonna try this. So that definitely made the prop work. So are we supposed to glue this on too, or is this just like a pressure? This is a removable thing. See how there's like a socket, so it makes it easy to slide through? See, that's the sort of stuff you just don't get with other brands. Okay. Do you want to show them what I'm doing with my other hand? I'm grabbing those 2 wires, and then as I key this in, see how it's keyed in at the front? Oh, wow. Oh. It's like already held together. That's awesome. Okay, so that sticks out the bottom. Now, I'm going to actually take one of my super small drivers. That might not work. I'm just wondering if I can try to torque that around a little bit. Yeah, so it's square. I like it square. It just looks nicer.
It just like pops on there?
Yeah, it just slides on there.
Wow.
But then you have to take one of these clips, and I'm not 100% certain which one. I don't know if they are giving us extras. Can we verify that real quick? So our instruction manual, I know these are for the wings, but I mean, why are they giving us 3? Is it just in case we lose one? Because it's like such a weird clip.
We usually have an extra.
Yeah, but there's 3 though. That's a lot. They show them different in the drawing too. You know why there's 3? Because there's 2 on the top wing too. See that? 2 body clips.
No, that's top wing.
Yeah.
Secure the bottom wing with a single.
Well, I understand, but I was just saying there's actually a total of. See, they designed this different, so that it's easier to probably get them in and out. See? Okay. Well, I mean, sometimes I tend to overthink things. That's because the instructions are confusing. But even if we didn't have instructions, I would still get confused.
And overthink things.
Yes, that too. Okay, so this one is not labeled right or left. It just is what it is. Let's see if the instructions clarify this. I'm guessing it doesn't. Oh, you know how you can tell? Nope, that won't tell you anything. Let's just assume that the molded piece goes in, because I think you wouldn't want to see that all the time. Okay, so that's wrong. So that's wrong. That's right. That's correct, and it fits perfectly. Because the wing, the front wing is further forward. Oh, left. Left.
Oh, there it is.
This is the left wing, so we got lucky. Yay. So it is marked. It looks like it's marked right here. Right. Good. So we got it correct by pure happenstance. Then these long, weird pins like this, There should be a total of 4 of them in your kit of pins. Okay? So then these things slip in here weird. See, there's like a sharpened end. That is just so strange. There it is. I can't tell if that's all the way or if that's not all the way. I felt like there was a bit of a snap at the end, but I'm not sure. We're gonna try the other one and see if it snaps differently. Okay. Here, let's do it without having the device on. Show the people how that works. Yeah, so that's all the way back. So it is supposed to stick out just a little bit.
So, right.
That's all the way. Oh, we have to go get our cat that's climbing the screen. All right, so we have 2 pins here that we have to install. And then there's a little clip right here that wraps around this. So this is gonna go on just like this. The problem is, it's gonna make it a little bit harder to set up the receiver stuff. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually stop at this point. Not necessarily stop, but we're just gonna stop the build process, and then we're gonna do the radio setup part now, while all this stuff is easy to get at. Because it's only gonna be harder as we get further into the build. So the next step, I want to try to do flapper-ons, and if flapper-ons are hard to accomplish, we always can put the Y cable back in. Okay, so I'm just gonna look at this. Okay, so there's 2 cables here. This is the ailerons, okay? So that's a Y cable. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with using a Y cable and putting ailerons on. But I don't remember which way they get assigned. So what I need to do now at this point, so that's removed. We have the canopy ready and we have the battery tray ready. This plane is capable of flying on 3 or 4S. 2200 30C plus is what they recommend. So I'm gonna start out with 4S 30C Gen 2 pack. But you could also fly on 3S if you want it to be a little bit more tame. So in this case, I know this is what you're gonna use to pull the battery out. So why don't we set this first. This is like the medium grade Velcro strips. I complain about the Velcro strips when they're the crappy ones. These are not the crappy ones. They're just like the middle grade ones. So they're okay. And plus, as long as they slip here, then it's okay. The ones that like to break are the ones that get glued in, and it's so difficult to work with them. See how they slide? That's good. You want that. Otherwise, it's just very difficult to accomplish a tight bite on your battery. And I don't like putting Velcro on my packs because I never know what direction the pack is going to need to go from plane to plane. So what I try to do is I try to center it on there, and I hold this where I want it to be. And you see how these things never feed through. It never seems like that works. So sometimes it's easier, in my experience, to just basically hold it tight and then slide this over. Okay? It's not always easier, and I'm intentionally leaving that off the end. That makes it a lot easier to release it when you're ready to go. So again, it just kind of depends on the battery, depends on the application.
And having it on a battery tray helps too, because you're not.
Yeah, because you're not doing it inside the plane. But you see, like this one's still challenging to get to feed through. In a perfect world, this strap wouldn't stretch at all, but they always do a little bit. And because they stretch, then that means you have to really, really, really tug on them. Well, the problem is if you tug hard enough, they just break in half. They rip. So you see how I'm pulling hard on that? Okay, so now I got a really good bite on this one. So now that I've got it held, it's a lot easier to do the first one again. And once you set it the first time, on one of these little trays, a lot of times you can just continue to use that same exact bite. You can slide them in and out with some effort. So I'm going to pull really hard with my left hand, and then I'm going to strap it like that with my right hand. And even having it as tight as I had it there, it's still kind of wanting to be able to slip a little bit. So you may find out that the Velcro is worthwhile on this plane. Well, anyway, that's what we're going to use for our battery. And why am I getting so excited about the battery? Just because I need to have this thing to power it up. So the ESC just hangs in there loose. That's pretty strange. But it's also not like a huge issue either. Okay, so I'm going to get some forceps too. Forceps make it so much easier to plug wires in. So we'll have that ready when we're ready to plug in the left and right aileron. And then without further ado, we're going to start the radio setup part, which is a little bit of a hybrid on this plane because we're like halfway through the build. We're going to be using the NX8. You could totally do this on the NX6, it'd be no problem. NX10, of course, IX12, IX20, and then any of the old DX transmitters. Forward programming should still be supported on DX transmitters, but when people ask me what to buy, then I'm always going to recommend an NX8 because it's like 40 bucks more than the NX6, but you get the knob, an additional switch, and of course the 8th channel, whereas on the NX6 you get 7 channels, which is really nice. So it's enough to do all the current stuff, or most of the current stuff. But once you start introducing flaps, retracts, reverse, and save select, well then you're running out of channels already. So if you go with 8, you'll be safe for the foreseeable future. Okay, so also I'm noticing that the throttle channel, the wire is coming all the way back here by the servos. So you may think about just kind of tucking that down in here, or just tying it off or something. You might even be able to just tie a knot in the cable. In my case, I think I'm going to try to push it down in here just to keep it out of the way. It's going to be easy to forget that. Now remember, our elevator is not hooked up, so we have to remember that, camera crew. All right, so at this point, we're going to click, scroll down to System Startup, disconnect RF, model select, scroll down to Add New Model, create an acro. Is that good for angle, or am I getting the...
You're good.
Okay. So then we're going to scroll down to model name. Comes up with model 31. Then you click on the first character you want to highlight. It's going to turn black. And then it's going to be Pitts. So we will pause and come right back after we type in the name. Oh. Okay, so we have the name, aircraft type. Now this is going to tell you to do aircraft type wing normal. I'm going to try for flap rounds. We're going to see what happens. If that doesn't work, we'll go back to normal. Then of course we need to change the picture to that, which was pretty quick. Oh, there might actually be a Pitts in there. Nope. That would have been pretty cool. Okay, and then they're suggesting high rates at 100 and low rates at 70. That's not the way I do it. I'll show you what I do instead. Timer. I don't know if the timer is discussed. They said 4 minutes.
Yeah, on that page.
4 minutes. That's on page 3. Yeah. Okay, so it's like 83 to 89 millimeters for the CG2. So throttle cut will set up to switch H. Verify. Well, let's see, it switched to throttle stick. Goodness gracious, I'm bumping my other switches. There we go. Then you click, now I can look. So it's all the way on. Now it's working, now it's running. Okay, so we're good there. Flap system, I want to set that to switch B. I don't know what direction it's going to go yet, so we'll just set 2 different settings. Okay. Speed to 2 seconds for each of the steps. No elevator correction yet. Timer. Countdown with a 4-minute. 1 out is active, which means when we give throttle over 25%, it'll start. Don't care about that warning. Don't care about that warning. Voice and vibrate. Excuse me. Voice, and then expiration is tone and vibrate. All right, so this should start. It's gonna count down. We're gonna clear it. Throttle holds on. Now let's talk about expo, dual rates and expo. So ailerons, we're gonna set this to switch F. We'll set to like 5, then 10, then 20, and drop the rate back to like 90. On elevator, we'll put it to switch F, set it to 5, then 10, then 20, set it to switch F, then 10, then 20 with the rates down to 90. So basically, regardless of what axis you're on, you're gonna have 3 different setups. We're gonna start in the middle. If we need to fly, if we're having trouble landing and we need more sensitivity, we can get it. Alternatively, if we're flying and we need less sensitivity, we can also have it. That's just basically whatever we end up on. If we end up on the more sensitive, then we back everything off, with that being our new basis. If we needed less sensitivity, then we fly it to the ground, and then we go ahead and set that to our middle, and then we double it and half it. Same thing for the next flight. Okay, so that's everything we need to kind of get to the point where we're binding. So throttle holds on, all the knobs and switches are in their standard positions where we would normally have them. And basically we need to go ahead and bind now. So even though we're not done building yet, it's gonna give us...
Wait, do you have to plug in the aileron first before we bind?
No.
Okay.
No, because I don't know. Well, I guess we can look at that too. So we'll just look at this. Now that we have the screen set up, we can tell that channel 2 is right aileron, 3, 4, 5, 6 is left aileron. Okay. And we don't know if it's going to work yet or not. Because the way that it comes programmed from the factory might be different. Okay, so now you remember how we labeled these? Mm-hmm. This one's the right aileron, okay? So the right aileron, so we're gonna put the brown kind of away from us. That's a really bad angle. Now remember, this would normally have a little Y cable, so it's gonna be a lot simpler. Okay. So I'm plugging this into the second channel, I believe. Mm-hmm. Is there something plugged into the first channel? No, it's throttle. Okay. And then the last channel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 6th channel is going to be the left aileron. And a lot of times you don't know which one's which until it's all basically done. Mm-hmm. So usually you don't end up labeling them, you just have to flip them at some point. Okay. And a lot of times it doesn't matter anyway. These things are really, really helpful when you're putting together planes a lot. The forceps, hemostats, that's the other thing people call them. Okay, so now we can go ahead and plug this in. Since this is AS3X and safe, we have to do the binding procedure for that. So we'll talk about that here in a second. I have to get the battery in here. We're obviously not gonna be able to test the CG yet because we don't have the actual wing on. I'm just lining this up with the 2 slots. I don't think you're going to be able to see very good from over there, are you? So that slides all the way up until it clicks. Okay, so it's clicked. Now we can set this down, and we just need to be mindful that throttle hold is on, but we have been surprised before. Okay, so everything is in a safe spot, so I can do this. If this were to spin, I want to make sure it's not going to hit me. Then I'm going to plug this in. Oh, transmitter needs to be off because we're binding. So the transmitter is off. Now that it's off, I'm easily able to secure the plane if it would start running. Okay, so that's all the way plugged in. We're gonna wait a second, make sure nothing crazy happens. Okay, so now the ESC, it's kind of hard to see. You're not gonna be able to see. I'm just gonna have to reach up here and press the button on the receiver, okay? Goodness gracious, that's a kind of an odd spot. It's right underneath the battery tray. So I'm gonna try to reach in there with my hemostats and I'm gonna press this logo. Yep, so you see the flashy light. Pressing the bind button.
Binding. DSMX 22 milliseconds.
Just one dance. Now it's doing the auto config. So this is like the forward programming. Okay, so ailerons, they're both going the same direction. Rudder's going, and then elevator's going, but it's not hooked up. Now that that is, I can hook that up. Because now that we know that that's centered, now we can make our decision if that needs to move. And it definitely needs to move, because if I were to hook that up, it'd be a problem right now. Okay, so I'm gonna screw this in a couple of turns. There's one half, there's 2 halves, or 1 turn. Looks pretty close, actually. What do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty close? Okay. We'll just leave that ring down at the bottom. I don't know, camera crew, what do you think? It looks like I'm still up a little teeny bit. I'm gonna go 1 more half turn. Oh man, that's so close. I think we're kind of like between steps.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna grab this and very carefully snap it. I'm gonna grab this O-ring, this clear colored O-ring, and then slide this over. Okay, and that'll just help keep that from popping off. Okay, so now the elevator goes up, the elevator goes down, the rudder goes left, the rudder goes right. Ailerons both go down. That's not correct. That could be symptomatic of the way that this thing is programmed. So let's look at this for a second. See how the ailerons move in different directions? That's promising. Servo setup. Reverse one of them. Now, okay, so I need to reverse that the other way. So I actually need to reverse that one. So that rolls left, that rolls right, and then the flaps are going backward. So the flap system, that needs to be minus 50, and then minus 100. Now, I still don't know if this is gonna allow safe and AS3X to work. So 100 is probably more than we need on this flap-around configuration. So I'm gonna do like minus 75, and then like minus 32, 33. Okay, so we have takeoff flaps, landing flaps, ailerons still work, ailerons still work, ailerons still work. Which I like it when you don't go all the way on flaperons, because then you still have a little bit of a control authority on both sides, which is nice. So now, notwithstanding the fact that we have to still install the top wing, we still have to verify everything's centered, like our rudder's not quite centered. Let's look at that real quick. See how this is not quite centered? Okay, first things first. I'm going to lay this down on the nose. We still haven't tested throttle, so I'm going to test that now. Throttle cut is on. I'm going to walk out of my setup menu for the flaps. Nothing happens. That's good. Throttle hold is off. Protected. Whoa. That's crazy. Okay, I see why that's a 4-minute flight time. Okay, so this is favoring a little bit that way. So I'm going to straighten that right now by rolling this O-ring up, popping this out, just like that. And I'm going to roll this in. Oh man, I got to secure that. I'm going to go in probably 1.5 turns, I'm guessing.
Probably.
In. Ooh, you know why it's hard?
Are you all the way in?
I think it's acting like it might be.
Ooh.
That's not so good. There's 1. There's 1.5. I got a little bit to go. There's 2, and I think I bottomed out, so I got to go back half a turn or whatever it takes to get us where we need to be. Okay, so that's probably going to be as good as we can do it without undoing it from the servo, which is the next step if we couldn't get it straightened out. Okay. All right, so this is supposed to be in the outside hole. I want to see if I can get it on the inside hole. Oh, yeah.
It's better too.
It's better too.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's on the inside hole, which means we're going to get some extreme deflection. Oh, yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah, buddy. You know, I think that they only have us do the middle hole because if you went to the outside hole, you'd probably pinch. You'd probably pinch the mechanism here. Watch. See? Show the people from the side there, camera crew. This is an aerobatic plane, so I want to have as much throw as I can get away with and still not pinch. Mm-hmm. Looks like we might be able to go with more, but I don't know. Let's just leave that there. Pinch sensitivity is a lot bigger deal, and it's harder to deal with than rudder because we can always just throw a little extra expo on there. Okay. So currently we have all the controls moving the correct direction. These are redundant. They'll do exactly the same thing as the bottom, so we can test everything here. So let's, we've already given stabilization, should be active. So I'm gonna test real quick. Okay, I can't tell with certitude, so I am going to hold the plane and I'm going to, if you can't tell by just wiggling it, I usually spin my whole body and I look at the rudder and I can tell. It's going to this side. It's going that way. Now I'm going to look at the elevator. Yep, it's going that way. Yep, it's going that way. So whatever direction your body's spinning, you should see it change too. Now the ailerons. That one's a little harder to test. Just kind of hard to tell. You want to make sure it's correcting in the right direction, because if it's correcting in the wrong direction, even though you fly it right, the AS3X could flip you and crash. So I want to show you how to check this. This may or may not work. Click, go down to forward programming, connecting, gyro settings, save select. I don't have an assignment made yet. Oh, look at that. That was easy. See how it's changing between mode? You know what? No. Too easy. Actually, let's just inhibit right now. So let's go back out. I want to try this safe select first. Let's see what, I got to my volume. Let's see what we have on this. Nothing. That's auxiliary 2. We want to reassign that to something else. Nothing there. Nothing there. Auxiliary 3 is still available, okay? So I'd like to set gear to this D switch, okay? So I'm going to go down to System Setup, disconnect RF, channel assign. Gear is currently set to A. D. We set this to D. Now watch this. Now I can go back into, well, there's two ways to do this. Sticks down and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh, it's just not happening.
You didn't.
I didn't bind in Safe Select, but it shouldn't make a difference. Well, I don't know. We'll find out if that makes a difference. So everything is working right now, with the exception of I can't test. Ooh, wait. I'm gonna try this with. Maybe I just didn't give it enough. No, it's already working. So see, safe isn't on, right?
Right.
Okay. And safe is not on. And safe is not on. Okay. I just can't tell what direction we're correcting with our ailerons. Okay? That's important. It makes a difference. So that being said, I am going to now disconnect power, let things settle, power down. So to do Safe Select, you have to bind in a different way. So let's show the people on the page in the manual. If you have a bind plug, you can still use a bind plug to bind these things, but there is a push button on the top. That thing looks like a Spectrum logo. That's a button. Press, press, press. So there's two different methods. This is binding procedure for switching on Safe Select. Now keep in mind, if you don't want to turn Safe Select on and off, you can just leave it on all the time. Or this is with Safe Select off, okay? That's evidently the way we bind. We bound. Transmitter's powered off. Move the transmitter controls to neutral where you want them if you have a fail-safe condition. Install a bind plug into the receiver. No. Where's the other one?
You have to hold the bind button.
Yeah. Okay.
You need 3
Yeah.
hands.
That's why you need 3 hands.
Yeah.
Especially in this plane because it's like in such a weird. So I have to power this up while holding it, right?
No, power it up.
And then
hold
okay.
and then hold your transmitter.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Protect yourself in case the prop goes.
Okay, I'm behind.
Okay, so now I have to press and hold. Pressing and holding while binding and pressing the power button.
Yes.
It says binding. Bind complete. Now, I want to show you what happened. Auto config is going through. Okay, I want to show you 2 things. One, we're bound. So now I can unplug this. This is why I hated IC3 connectors. I literally chopped off probably 60 of these connectors because I hated them so bad. The IC connectors are awesome. Even though they have one more pin, they're easier to plug in. Watch. Dance. This one's centered. This one danced, and this one danced. So what that tells me is that doing flaperons caused only one aileron to be controlled via the Safe Select and AS3X. The only way to totally fix that, and when I say totally fix that is, it's probably fine anyway, so I'm just gonna go with it. But here we currently have ailerons, takeoff flaps, landing flaps. But you see how one's down further than the other?
Yeah.
And you see the one's moving further than the other too. That's because I'm in safe. See how this one's moving and this one's moving? Okay, I need to make my Safe Select designation. Switches down, or both down and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I know I got it now. So safe is on, safe is off, or vice versa. Safe is probably off, safe is on, okay? Safe is off, safe is off, safe is on, Safe is off, safe is off. You can see because that moves further. So now look at the ailerons. Because safe is on, but it's only active through this, the proportional output on that is going to be reduced because it is part of the limited bank angles and safe auto leveling, okay? Now watch what happens when I undo this. Watch this one. Boom, full control. Full control. Full control, safe, okay? Now watch the rudder, same thing, in safe. Rudder, full control, full control, full control, safe. Throttle holds on and tested. Timer's cleared. Watch this. Trying to find the quickest route to level, but it's only one of them, okay? Now look at the elevator and rudder. The rudder doesn't do really anything in safe select for finding the quickest route to level, but the elevator does. Okay, so you see the elevator? It's trying to bring us level. Do you see how it's trying to bring us level? Until we get level and then it stops. So what we know now is that AS3X is active after throttle. So let's try that. That is crazy amount of power. Throttle holds on. Safe select is off, but AS3X is on. So now I can definitely see the rudder working, elevator. I'm just gonna hold it sideways, it's easier. Elevator working, elevator working. I really can't tell on the ailerons. It's so hard to tell. I can tell there's something happening, but I can't see it with my eyes. So now we can go back into that forward programming menu.
Okay.
So forward programming,
Go to our other side.
forward programming, click in there. Gyro settings, safe select. So now it knows what mode we're in. See how it's learning. AS3X is on, safe is off. Safe is off. Now safe is on. See how that works? Let's walk back. Let's walk back. Let's go to gyro settings. See, it's limited access. So now I'm going to go to servo setup, travel, reverse, gear. Now it's correct for what I normally do. This is safe select off, safe select off, safe select on. So that's my normal flight mode. So really, what have I done? I've basically traded functional flaps on both sides for safe on both sides of the ailerons. Now, why is that a problem? It's not, first of all, except in this condition, okay? You're in safe, okay? Look at the flaps from right here. Show them right here. Come over in front of me. And then give them a low angle so they can see how much deployment. Go down more. There you go. So you get below the wing. There you go. Okay, so you see the flaps? There's takeoff flaps, aileron left, aileron right. That's pretty even, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's landing flaps. Roll left, full, roll full right. Rudder, everything's fine, right? Now, let's go to safe. Here's full safe. Roll left, roll right. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Weird. Seems like they go a little bit further. There's takeoff flaps, there's landing flaps. What's wrong with that?
More
on the left. Okay? Now, why is that a problem? Because if you put this one down further than that one with a flapper-on configuration, the plane is going to roll to the right. Why is that not a problem with safe?
Besides the fact that you're not going to fly in safe?
No, because it would normally roll. It's not going to roll because safe is going to try to keep it level.
So it's still going to...
So it's going to try to roll, but then safe is going to be like, no,
Oh.
no, no, no. Because the priority is 100% with that thing when you're not giving any input because it's got auto leveling. Then when you roll left, it's gonna let it roll left because the priority is gonna be on here, okay? Then when you roll right, it's gonna say, okay, I need to deprioritize this control surface. No, this control surface is gonna be controlled by me. And then this control surface is gonna be like, no, we need to get over there, get over there, get over there, get over there. Because it's gonna be listening to safe and me. And this one's just gonna be listening to me. Do you understand?
So it's still
still gonna fly level.
Okay.
We're not gonna appreciate any difference in fly.
Okay.
Okay, I don't think. It's possible that we turn safe on. It's gonna tend to wanna kind of almost like have like a trim issue, okay? So if that's the case, then safe is gonna be pretty useless. In which case, we just bind back to AS3X only, or we just basically either mix out that control so it doesn't happen ever, which is super easy to do, or we just literally don't ever put it in safe. It's not a big deal. My point is, we got flaps and they didn't recommend it. I'm fine with that. I live with that.
Right.
The big key is both of the controls move the same direction. The hard part is I can't see if it's working right yet. So, let's go back into forward programming for one additional test. Oops, sorry, forward programming. AS3X is on, AS3X is on, and safe is on. You see this? Off. On, off, safe. You know what I just did? I bought myself an out.
Yeah.
So if all hell is breaking loose and I'm flying and I'm like, oh boy, it's one roll me over. If I remember in time, I can either flip to here and shut off AS3X, or I can flip here and turn safe on. Hopefully one of those two will get me out of hot water. Or I can slow down and just counter it with human input, but that's harder said than done, okay? So let's show the people at home what that looks like. I'm out of forward programming. Throttle hold is off. Not only is it lifting itself, it's lifting my hand. That is, wow. That is way more than unlimited vertical. Okay, so obviously everything is working. The rudder's working, the elevator's working. At least one of the ailerons is working. Off, and then safe. So that's pretty cool. Okay, we've done everything we need to do on setup. Throttle holds on and tested. Timer's cleared. That is gonna be crazy. I'm actually really excited to see it fly now. And let's put the top wing on. Looks like it calmed down a little bit, so maybe we can fly tonight.
Wide enough still?
Maybe. Hey, we might mark the center of gravity before we actually put the wing on, just so it's easier.
Oh.
So the center of gravity is plus or minus 3 from what, 65?
The 65 or
6,
68?
it's 86. 86 plus or minus 3 millimeters. From the leading edge of the top wing. Ooh, let's find the drawing. I want to see what they actually say. The leading edge, this is a tapered wing.
Yeah, right.
So I'm assuming they mean from this flat spot here. If you imagine the flat spot were here on the front edge of this countertop. Okay. I'm looking for the drawing. So did you guys understand what I was trying to explain? Oh, look, they show it right here. See, from the flat spot. Obviously, it's not going to be from the tapered, because then it could be anywhere along the wing,
right,
from this point to that point. Okay, so that would change the whole setup from here to here. It's like, that would give you that much extra change. So 86 plus or minus 3, so it's actually 83. That's a long ways back. Now that's because this wing favors in front of the other one. So who do we have to thank for this?
Danny.
Danny. Thank you, Danny. So 83 to 89, correct? So we have a black marker.
Are you going to mark it on the underside?
I don't know yet. I think I'm going to dent it. I might mark it on the top too. So we can see where it is.
How do you test CG on a biplane?
Same way as you do on any other plane. So just a real small dot here and a real small dot here. And then, so since we're at 83 now, I am going to flip the wing upside down, and I'm going to just use this to reach over and just make it bump. Do you see, guys, how I'm making that little triangle mark? So there's like a little mark there. And some of you guys are probably thinking, geez, that's a big, ugly center of gravity mark. Yep. So that's 6 from there. So I usually don't do this way, but let's just say 86. Good enough. What? 86 plus 3 more. 89. Okay, 88.99, that's close enough. Whoops. Okay, so there's 1. And there's 1. Ow. So there's your range of CG. So the front to the back is a 6 millimeter difference. So yeah, you test this exactly the same as you would any other plane, camera crew. The difference is there just happens to be 2 wings. Okay, so we can install this now, get the ailerons on, get them centered, and then if all goes to plan, we'll just have to switch out batteries and go out and fly. So the big wing goes up here and then slips back. Up here and then slips back. Right? Yeah. I think. Oh yeah, there it goes. On there, then slips back. Oh, there it goes. Okay, then 2 pins. Okay, through and through. Very nice. Then, very carefully, I'm just going to lean this on its nose. I can definitely see why they did this now. That was so nice. That was so easy. See, guys, I mean, you saw all that work I went through to get flaperons, e-flite. You probably should have just given us flaperons. But, I must say, okay, this one needs centered slightly. See that? I'm seeing this one's up just a hair. Camera crew over here. This one looks pretty good. Okay? See, I'm just looking right here. I don't think we're going to be able to improve that. So this one we can improve. Okay, so we're going to slide this O-ring back. Stick the fingernail in there. Pull it out. Then we're going to... That needed to come out, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So 1/2 turn out. And the outside hole. Whoops, that's the middle hole. There's the inside. Oh, did I?
Nope, other way then.
I needed to go in. So I need to go in 1.5. Or not 1.5, I need to go in half to get back to where I was. And then half again to be where I should have been. I think we probably overshot a little bit too. No, that's pretty dang perfect, I'd say. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm just looking here. And I'm kind of trying to have the difference here. Sometimes you'll have like even here and low here or vice versa. Just favor whichever one you prefer to favor, but favor them the same way on both wings, okay? All right, so now the last step in the mechanical install. I didn't get a rubber on this, camera crew.
Uh-oh.
That could cause all sorts of problems. See this? There's that O-ring. Mm-hmm. It's not actually an O-ring.
Did it fall off?
If it fell off, please tell me quickly before I chop it in half.
Hold on. Do we need to search for a second?
There we go. I just cut my rubber in half.
It's usually not recommended for maximum safety.
Maximum safety. Keep your rubber
You want a
intact.
whole rubber.
You want the, well, I mean, some people are cheaper than others too.
Well,
I don't know how effective it would be in half.
I'm gonna say that's your effectiveness is gonna go down dramatically.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way. We're gonna find out in about 10 seconds here. Okay, so that goes that way, I guess. Yeah, that'll work. Now I want this to go up just a hair. So I think we're gonna have to let that fall down. Grab it with the hemostats. And then we need to go way out. 1, 2. Sometimes you have to snap these before you turn them or you're gonna break off the little doohickey. These are really high quality. They use a harder plastic that's a little bit stronger. Some of the Chinese companies, oh my goodness. They use the crappiest little tabs and they break off if you look at them wrong. Oh boy, that's, speaking of breaking off, I'm like almost all the way out of the threads.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I think you might be...
That's probably about right. I don't know though, camera crew. What do you think? Maybe 1/2 more?
Yeah, I suppose.
I think I need it.
Goodness.
I don't know what you're supposed to do if it doesn't reach. I mean, it's one thing if you're too short. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's even right there. That doesn't look right to me. I don't think we're there. I think we need to go up more. We gotta go up more. Goodness gracious, that's scary. That's about perfect.
Yeah, that does look better.
Oh, quit your complaining, servo. So this is gonna be a little bit challenging because that thing looks like it's tipped. As in the tip of the thing is gonna break off. You guys see what I'm fighting here? As I'm trying to insert this little doohickey into the other doohickey, it's wanting to bend over. So I'm like having to be super careful and precise about alignment and then press it. You know what? We gotta open that hole up a little bit. Otherwise it's gonna break off. And once you break the head off,
Then you gotta redo
then you're screwed. You gotta redo the whole thing. Yep. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a drill bit set and come right back. I'm gonna work the other side real quick while the camera crew is getting that. So before we get these in, we gotta put these pins in too.
Oh, yeah.
So these pins go on the top, just like they went on the bottom. Push down on the top of the wing and then slide them all the way in. And it's golden.
I feel like those should be more definitive.
You know what? I'm with you, but whatever. They work. Could be like other competitive brands we've done where it's like taking hours to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Instead, this takes minutes and it's effective. Okay? That works. I wanted to do that first because that could have potentially impacted our absolute position of the aileron control horn.
Right.
Okay, so let's look at this. While you were grabbing the drill bits, looks like this needs to go up just a hair. Okay, 1/2 turn maybe. Okay, so that's pretty darn good. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to grab, I don't know what size I need yet. I think a 5/64. That's pretty much it. So now, I can't believe I have to drill this out. That just seems so backward for me. You just never see that from Horizon. That might be a little bit too big.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a little bit. I'm gonna go one step down, 1/16 of an inch. Yeah, 1/16 safer. Yeah, they need drilled out. All right, camera crew, I'm sorry to have you. Thank you for helping me get that stuff together quick. Now I need this way out at the end of the drill is too small to take a 1/16 of a bit. So option 1 would be to tape and option 2 would be even lazier. Wrap this bag around the base of the drill bit.
No, like pliers?
No, I need that.
Oh, you're gonna put it in there?
I'm gonna chuck it in there. I'm just wrapping this around there so I have something to chuck onto. You guys probably have had this problem before. Well, you know what? Tape is probably easier in this case. So if you ever had this problem with a drill bit, all you have to do is just take your tape and just wrap around it a few times and then rip it. And then your drill will hang on to it in the chuck.
All right.
All the stupid things you learn while you're doing stupid things with the wrong tools for the wrong job.
Yeah.
So now I have to come in from here or I won't be able to hit it. Okay? Looks like somebody started that and it never actually got done.
Maybe it just got missed or something.
I don't really care. It's gonna be done in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I'd rather have it the right size, but I am annoyed that I have to do it. Big deal, whatever. This is compared to the Dynam we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I'll take this any day.
It's like half the stuff is missing on those.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I can live with that. One thing is acceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still annoying, but it's like I'd rather be annoyed once than 14 times. Now, that being said, these are more expensive than Dynam, so I do have higher expectations of them. But like, they just turn out better too. You want to give them a shot of actually what's happening over here? From like over here maybe? I think you'll be able to see what's going on. You guys see how that ball is lifted a little bit? It's like it's too high. I'm being ultra careful to not break it off. If you break that off, then you have to replace this whole end. Okay? Now, let's look. What? That's like way high now. What the heck? You know what? We weren't pinned in when we sized this, when we classified it, okay? So I am going to now fix that. Thank goodness, actually.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great problem to have. Whew. So we got more bite now. Way more secure. You guys see how many turns of a difference that made?
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was a lot. Okay, and if you guys like to have your planes eventually trim out perfect, this is a pretty important step. Perfect. 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 Okay, so roll left, roll right, take off flaps, landing flaps, roll left, roll right. And that might actually be even a lot, but I am gonna go ahead and do a flap system. I'm just gonna start with 10 and 15 because you're gonna need some correction. That thing is gonna balloon. 2-second deployment speed. This is gonna be cool. I can't wait to see it. Okay, so that being said, I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and switch batteries right now. So we're gonna unplug this. Ooh. We could put it on the XPC.
Do we want to check CG while you have that one in? Or not?
I already pulled it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. By the time you said that,
Sorry.
it was already pulled. Okay, so 2200, 30C, 4S. There's no sense in messing around, guys. We're just going straight to 4S on this. Plugging that battery into my Smart Generation 2 S2200 dual channel charger. We love them. Full disclosure, we have an annoying problem that happens, guys. You know that I'm a Horizon fanboy. Everybody knows that. I love Horizon. We have the best experience. It doesn't mean it's perfect, okay? Horizon tries really hard to fix stuff when they know about problems. One problem we've been having with that charger is that sometimes it just stops charging. We don't know why. There'll be 2 of them going, and then we walk up and it's like, why did you stop charging? So I don't know. I mean, you can always start it again and it goes, but it'll stop at like 86% or whatever random place. I think it has something to do with the way that we charge the other one, or we stop the other channel, and I think it also simultaneously stops the other channel. I don't know if you guys have had that same problem, but it's really annoying, and it seems like something that can be fixed in a firmware update. So Horizon, if you're listening, which I'm assuming you are, please fix that because it's annoying. I always love it when I say things like that publicly instead of just letting them know on an email or a telephone call. Okay, so one other thing too that you want to watch for is you see how I missed the hole? I was in the wrong slot. there is a slot above and below that feels and looks a lot like the correct slot. If you grab the tray and you slide it into the wrong spot, there's two ways to tell you made it in the wrong spot. You see how there's plastic above and below there? That's one way to tell that you're in the correct slot. The other way is it'll never snap. Mine didn't snap on this one either. But I think we're in there. Okay, so we're good. Throttle holds on. We verified that our cables aren't going to all jump out and go straight into the elevator receiver. How did we do that? Watch this, guys. Look. Look. This. Watch this. It's trying to initiate, so I'm trying to hold still, but I got to stick that somewhere. Okay. 1, 2. 2 dances means safe select is active. Okay? We're trying to spread the word about that. All right, so the pilot's in there. Now we need to check CG. Throttle hold is on. Okay, we're quite nose heavy there on the 4S configuration. So I am going to pull this back. The battery. Camera crew, you gonna give me a shot of what I'm doing? I'm pulling the battery out so that it's at the end of the finger hole, okay? Two holes. Front hole still pretty nose heavy. I don't think nose heavy is a great idea on any plane that drastically. Okay, so back quite a bit more. See how I'm out? I'm out of there. Oh, see, I missed. See how easy that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I gotta get this really tight. Oh man, I'm in that hurry. I wanna fly this. I wanna fly it now. What time is it?
I don't know what time it actually is.
Can you find out what time
Like
it actually
after
is?
8.
No way. Seriously?
Probably.
It's a 4-minute flight time on
Phone
the
ended
nature.
up over here. 8:15.
Oh no. Okay, so we gotta hurry. So this is tight, and then this one is going to be sort of halfway, okay? That just stops it from, okay, if you've got a second strap and you wanna try to help secure your pack, pull it through all the way so that it locks down on the other side, like this, okay? Then pull the slack, and you can kind of wrap it around the end of the pack, like that. And you can sort of get another bite point so that if this were to slip, it's only gonna slip so far, okay? So that's another thing that doesn't work quite as good on this setup. But I was trying to give you guys a hint, or see, it went under it. I've done that on some of my bigger planes and it works really nicely actually. Okay, so that's fine. That's good enough. So you see we're like right there. I'm gonna line this up. Boy, this one lines up. It's a lot harder to load the battery in this one than it is to load the battery in the other planes that have this. Now, partly because this is designed for 3S, not 4S. 4S is acceptable, but it's designed for 3S. Let's check the CG before we even get that plugged in. I think we're gonna be good now. That's good enough. I'm happy with it because the canopy's gonna get that last little bit. Okay, so we're lined up to that same, just short of the last one. So we can review our footage to figure out exactly where that is. I'm being careful to hold this as still as possible. It's dancing. Okay, so everything's working, throttle holds on. We're going out to fly right now. This is gonna be awesome. So guys, check the link in the description below. You've already seen it fly. We don't have the benefit of having seen it fly, but we're about to do it right now. Buy the stuff from our links. You'll help support us financially. NX8, the 850 millimeter pits by E-flite, and of course the 4S 2200 30C Gen 2 pack. We'll also link to all the regular stuff down below. And if you can't find it on the list, just go a little bit below our first 4 or 5 items and you'll see the Horizon Hobby generic link. Guys, mostly give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications, and you'll get notifications a million times a week because we're releasing like crazy right now. Come back for more. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the Horizon Hobby E-flite pits, 850 millimeters. We did something a little different on ours. We set up flapperons, which is gonna be super cool. We're gonna take off going that way on 4S 2200 30C Gen 2 pack. Throttle holds off. We only lost 1 aileron worth of AS3X and safe, but we still have both. Take off flaps. Throttle hold is off. Here goes nothing. Oh, yes. Oh my goodness. That is insanity, guys. Okay, got to get a little elevator trim in there. I think we're golden already. A little bit of roll. Oh my goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. That is awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go around and we're gonna try just a little teeny bit of safe here from a safe distance. Okay, it goes down a little bit. Okay, let's go up a couple of mistakes high. 50% throttle, they're safe. Hands off, just so you guys can see for proof. Okay, we're gonna do some limited bank angles. Oh my goodness. Boy, it doesn't keep up with the limited bank angles on the roll axis. Whoa, it let me flip it over. You know why? Because we only have 1 aileron working. So guys, if you use safe, the way we did it, you may flip your plane over, but that's no biggie. Okay, no big deal. It's just gonna try to get it recovered. Okay, we are in AS3X now. Camera crew, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. I need you to go forward 3 steps so I have room to stand on the drive. Nah, it's the wrong way. There you go, right there. Perfect, good job. I need room to stand on the driveway. This thing is fast, oh my goodness. It flies pretty good. It's like really, 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 really fast and really powerful. And you can do anything you want with it. It's crazy. And by the way, it is not dead calm today. It's like, it reminds me so much of the 1500 millimeter, or excuse me, the 1400 millimeter FMS. The only difference is this one's much more small and crazy. Guys, look at this. That is nuts. It's like way more insane than scale. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. We are up against sunset with a cloudy sky, but the thing tames down beautifully, folks. Beautifully it tames down. We have our standard expo setup. I might even go to the higher expo setting because it's just insane the way it is right now. And to be perfectly frank with you, we set our rudder hole to the outside as well. Oh man, but it still feels great. Still feels really, 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 really good. Like, look at that. Rudder authority is perfect. It does kind of tip the plane over. That's out of the throttle. Oh my goodness, so symmetrical. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, I've got 10% up elevator. That didn't even take full up elevator to come out of that upside down loop, folks. Camera crew, being the pro that she is currently filming with a half backlit screen because the battery is dying on her phone. Okay, that's insanity. Cornholes are crazy. Can you make 10 steps toward the front door? Toward the front door. Thank you. Perfect. There we go. Get a little bit of wind coming down the runway, folks. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Whoa, grass landings are okay. That was unsuspected. Are you kidding me? What? Okay, throttle holds on. Guys, I want to do so much more, but we literally are going to run out of juice on both the camera or the plane.
And
I'm
the
at
sun.
15 seconds past our timer. We may have to just do this again tomorrow. I didn't even get to see if the flaps work, but I can definitely tell you this. We need a little more down elevator correction than we thought. And that doesn't surprise me because we have takeoff flaps, landing flaps, and we left a little bit in there for aileron roll. But just keep in mind, we got ailerons on both top and bottom wings. So yes, I have flown planes just like this with flaperons. Usually works really good. Guys, stick around. We're gonna have at least one more flight for you. This thing is awesome. It is a handful. It is a handful. They call it a 2. I think it's closer to a 3, especially the way we configured it. Stay tuned. More coming.